Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? We got a bunch of requests to break down Zaggle,
Yeah, they're definitely making some noise.
for sure. We've got earnings calls and presentations from, let me see, November 23 all the way to August 24. Looks like our listeners really want to understand what Zaggle does and where they're headed.
Makes sense. They've been growing like crazy.
Exactly. So for anyone who's not totally familiar, Zaggle basically helps businesses manage all their spending. Think of it like a super organized digital wallet, but for companies.
It's a pretty smart approach, actually. Businesses are really looking to digitize their spending, and Zaggle's right there to help them do it.
Okay, so let's break it down, make it super simple.
Right.
Imagine I'm, I don't know, 10 years old.
Yeah.
How would you explain what Zaggle does?
All right, 10 years old. Okay. Imagine you set up a lemonade stand, right? You got to buy lemons, sugar, maybe some cups. That's your spending. Zaggle's like this awesome app that keeps track of all that. Make sure you get paid for all those delicious lemonades. And it can even help you give your best customers, like, special deals or something.
Ooh, I like that. Special deals for the lemonade stand VIPs. So Zaggle's like a financial control center for businesses, keeping everything running smoothly. But how do they actually make money? Where does the money come from?
It's a two-part system, really. First off, companies pay Zaggle to use their software, kind of like a monthly subscription. Think Netflix, but for business finances.
Gotcha. Subscription fees. Makes sense.
Then they also get a small fee every time a company uses their system to pay for something. So every time someone buys a lemonade with, like, their Zaggle lemonade stand account, Zaggle gets a tiny cut.
Ah, transaction fees. So it's subscriptions plus those little transaction fees. Clever. Now, Zaggle's got these three main products, right? Zaggle Save, Zaggle Propel, and then there's Zaggle Zoyer. Let's dive into those. Can you give us some real-world examples of how those actually work?
Absolutely. Let's start with Zaggle Save. Imagine you're traveling for work, gotta buy meals, book a hotel, maybe use your company card for transportation. Zaggle Save tracks all those expenses, manages your receipts, and helps you get reimbursed super fast. No more digging through a pile of receipts.
Oh, that's a lifesaver. Expense reports are the worst. What about Zaggle Propel?
Propel is all about those rewards and incentives. So let's say your company wants to show some appreciation, right? They give you a gift card, maybe some discounts, or even points you can use for, I don't know, travel or other cool stuff. That's where Zaggle Propel comes in. Companies can use it to manage all those programs, keep employees happy and motivated.
So Propel's like the fun one, spreading good vibes. What about Zaggle Zoyer? That one sounds a bit more serious.
Zoyer is the behind-the-scenes hero. This one's all about managing payments to vendors and suppliers. So remember that lemonade stand? Well, gotta pay the lemon guy, right? Zaggle Zoyer would be like this automatic system that makes sure the lemon guy gets paid on time, every time, and everything's documented perfectly. No more missed payments or scrambling to find invoices.
Oh, I see. Zoyer keeps the whole operation running smoothly. So Save for expenses, Propel for rewards, Zoyer for paying the bills. Pretty comprehensive, right? They seem to have like all of the bases covered.
Yeah, they've really built this whole ecosystem. Everything connects, everything's streamlined, and it's all data-driven.
And let's talk growth. Zaggle's been absolutely crushing it, seriously. Doubling their revenue over the past 3 years, that's mind-blowing. What's driving that kind of growth?
It's a lot of things working together, really. Their platform's a big draw. Businesses love that one-stop shop approach. Plus, they're super innovative, especially with AI and machine learning. And they've got these strong partnerships with major banks, which is super important for payments. They're not slowing down either.
Okay, so they're killing it in the short term. But what about their long-term vision? Where do they see themselves in a few years?
Get this. They're aiming to double their revenue again in the next 2 years.
Whoa, hold on. Double again. That's insane.
This time it'll be a mix of organic growth, getting more customers, and also strategic acquisitions. They're looking at companies that can either boost their profits right away or bring in some cool new products and services.
They're playing chess, not checkers.
Exactly. And they're not stopping there. Their ultimate goal is to be the leading spend management company, not just in India, but globally, starting with the US market.
Wow, that's ambitious. Double their revenue again. We got to break that down.
Yeah.
So their revenue for FY24 was, what was it, like 7,756 million rupees?
Yeah, something like that.
So if they double that, we're talking about a potential 15,512 million rupees in the next 2 years. That's a lot of zeros.
It is, and that's just India. Imagine if they crack the US market.
Talk about a game changer. But let's zoom in on their products for a sec. We've got Save, Propel, and Zoyer. Are they all contributing equally to this growth? Or is there a standout performer, like a star of the show?
Well, Save and Propel are definitely doing great, solid growth there. But the real rock star is Zoyer. It's their newest product, and it's already making a huge impact. They reported over 2,000 crores in spending on Zoyer just last quarter.
Wow, Sawyer's the breakout star, huh? What's behind that rapid rise?
Remember, Zoyer is all about those vendor payments, making it super easy and automated. It's tackling a real pain point, especially in India, where, traditional payments could be a real hassle. Zoyer is making businesses more efficient, saving them time and money.
Ah, so it's solving a real problem. Businesses love that. But how much are they betting on Zoyer for their future success?
Big time. They're projecting that Zoyer is going to contribute like 40% to 50% of their total revenue by FY27.
Okay, so Zoyer's going from rookie to MVP. But what about Save and Propel? Are they just going to fade into the background?
No way. Save and Propel are still crucial, and they're still growing. They've got a loyal customer base using those products, and Zaggle keeps improving them based on what their customers need. It's not about one product winning over the others. It's like they're building this, all-star team.
Love that analogy. A team of financial superheroes. But every superhero faces challenges, right? What are some of the potential roadblocks Zaggle might hit as they keep growing?
Well, one thing is regulations. The RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, they could introduce new rules, especially around prepaid cards, that could impact Zaggle's business.
Oh, right. Regulations are always changing.
But Zaggle's on top of it. They're expanding into credit cards and diversifying their products. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Smart move. What about competition? We talked about how they don't have a direct competitor in India yet, but that could change, right?
Definitely. New players could pop up. Existing companies could try to get in on the action. It's a competitive world out there. But Zaggle's building strong relationships with their customers. They're innovating constantly, staying ahead of the game.
So they're playing offense and defense. But even with the best plans and the best team, things can still go wrong.
Yeah.
Anything else they need to be careful about?
One big thing is execution risk. To reach those ambitious goals, they've got to execute flawlessly. That means having a strong team, smart investments, and being super efficient.
So they've got the blueprint for a skyscraper, but they still need the right people and the right tools to actually build it.
Exactly. And it looks like they're aware of that. They're building their team, investing in technology, and streamlining their operations.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got a good understanding of their business model, their crazy growth, and some of the hurdles they might face. But we've only scratched the surface. What else are we diving into in the next part of our deep dive?
Next up, we're going deep into Zaggle's competition. Who are they up against? What are their strengths? And what challenges will they face in this battle for market dominance?
Ooh, sounds like things are about to get strategic. Can't wait.
Welcome back. So we left off talking about Zaggle's big ambitions. They want to be the go-to solution for, pretty much any business that wants to manage their spending better.
Right, but ambition alone isn't enough.
Yeah.
They need a solid strategy to make that happen, don't they? Like, how do they stack up against the competition?
Absolutely. That's what we're digging into now. Who are they up against? What makes them different? And how are they going to tackle those challenges on their way to, world domination?
Sounds intense. So let's start with their home turf, India. They're already a big player there, but who are they competing with?
That's where it gets interesting. They don't really have a direct competitor in India that does everything Zaggle does.
Really? No one else offers that same range of solutions?
Nope. There are companies that focus on specific things like expense tracking or vendor payments, but no one's got that complete package like Zaggle.
So they've carved out their own little niche, but that doesn't mean they can just relax, right? Someone could come along and try to steal their crown.
Oh, for sure. New players could emerge. Existing companies could try to expand what they do. And then there are always those disruptive startups with crazy new ideas. You can't underestimate those.
It's like they're the king of the hill, but they got to keep defending their territory.
Yeah.
So what's their secret weapon? What makes them stand out?
One big thing is that whole ecosystem approach. They're not just offering a bunch of separate tools. They've built this whole system that takes care of so many different spending needs. Expenses, reimbursements, rewards programs, vendor payments, and it's all there.
It's like having a one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Got to be super appealing for businesses who are tired of juggling a million different vendors and systems.
Exactly. And it gives them a big advantage over companies that only offer one specific solution. Having everything integrated means Zaggle can see the whole picture, gives them better insights, helps businesses control their costs more effectively.
It's like having a financial advisor that really understands your whole situation, not just one piece of it. That's got to be valuable.
Totally. And they're also super focused on innovation, especially with things like AI and machine learning. They're always looking for ways to make their products smarter, easier to use, and, just better.
So it's not just about what they offer today, it's about always staying ahead of the game. Like they're building this constantly evolving intelligent system.
You got it. That's what sets them apart in such a fast-paced market.
Okay, so they've got a great platform, they're focused on innovation, and they're crushing it in India. But what about their global ambitions? Remember, they want to take on the U.S. market. That's a whole other beast, isn't it?
Yeah, the U.S. is a tough one. It's bigger, more mature, and way more competitive than India. One of the biggest challenges for Zaggle is, nobody knows who they are there.
They got to make a name for themselves.
Right. They'll need to spend a lot on marketing and branding to get their name out there and convince people they're a serious player.
It's like trying to crash a party where everyone already knows each other. You got to make a big entrance and grab everyone's attention.
Exactly. And it's not just about being noticed. It's about building trust, especially in a market that's already full of big established companies.
Businesses need to know that Zaggle gets them, that they can deliver, and that they're here to stay.
Exactly. It takes time, effort, and a lot of relationship building. They've got to connect with the right people, make partnerships, and really demonstrate that they understand American businesses.
So no overnight success. They got to play a long game, prove themselves. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And the competition is fierce. The U.S. has some of the biggest, most sophisticated spend management companies in the world.
So Zaggle's playing in the big leagues now.
Yep. And they got to bring their A game.
Their product can't just be good. It has to be amazing. It's got to stand out from the crowd, offer something truly unique and valuable, find that wow factor.
Absolutely. They need that why Zaggle answer, something that's compelling and irresistible.
Got to figure out what makes them special and shout it from the rooftops. Convince American businesses that Zaggle's the solution they've been waiting for.
Right. And they need to make sure it speaks to American businesses specifically, considering cultural differences and market trends. What works in India might not work in the U.S.
They got to speak the language, understand the culture, adapt. It's like learning a new dance. Can't just do the same steps and expect to impress everyone in a different country.
Love that analogy. It's all about cultural sensitivity and understanding the market. They got to do their homework and tailor their approach.
Immerse themselves, listen, and adapt.
Exactly. And then there's the whole regulatory maze in the U.S. Financial services are heavily regulated, so they'll need to make sure they're compliant with all the rules and regulations, which can be a headache.
So it's not just about a cool product, it's about making sure it ticks all the legal boxes too.
Exactly. And those regulations can change, so they need to stay on top of things and adapt quickly.
Okay, so there are definitely challenges ahead for Zaggle in the U.S. Building brand awareness, dealing with tough competition, navigating regulations, adapting to a new culture. But hey, challenges often come with big rewards, right? What's the upside for them if they crack the American market?
The potential is huge. The U.S. market is massive, way bigger than India. If they can establish themselves there, it could really skyrocket their growth.
Like leveling up in a video game. They've beaten the first level, now they're on to a bigger, tougher, but ultimately more rewarding level.
Exactly. And it's not just about size. The U.S. is a leader in technology and innovation. Expanding there could open up amazing opportunities for Zaggle, partnerships with cutting-edge companies, access to top talent.
It's like joining forces with the Avengers. They can leverage those resources and expertise to boost their own game.
That's a great way to put it. Plus, the U.S. is a major hub for investments. If Zaggle can impress the right people, they could attract a lot of funding to fuel their growth.
So it's not just a new market, it's a whole new network of resources and opportunities.
Absolutely. And don't forget about the entrepreneurial culture in the U.S. They value innovation and disruption, which aligns perfectly with Zaggle's approach.
It's like they're bringing their own unique energy to the party, adding to that diversity and dynamism. It's a two-way street. Both sides benefit.
Totally. It's a great example of how international business can be a win-win for everyone involved.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges and the opportunities in the U.S. market. It seems like Zaggle's got a lot on their plate, but they're definitely up for the challenge. But let's not forget about India. Remember, they still want to double their revenue there, too. How are they going to manage that while also taking on the U.S.?
They've got a multi-pronged approach for India. One big focus is organic growth, attracting new customers and expanding with existing ones.
So basically, keep doing what they're doing, but do it even better and reach more businesses.
Right. They know they can't get complacent. They got to keep pushing, keep innovating, and keep exceeding those customer expectations.
It's like they're constantly writing new chapters in their success story.
Exactly. They're building a legacy.
And what about that other pillar, that secret weapon for even faster growth?
That would be inorganic growth, acquiring other companies strategically. They're not just buying anyone, though. They're carefully picking companies that align with their vision, add something unique to their offerings, and can really help them grow.
Like building a dream team of spend management superheroes.
Exactly. And they're making sure those acquisitions are integrated smoothly. It's about creating one cohesive, powerful force, not just a bunch of random parts.
So they're focused on the U.S., but they're also keeping an eye on other promising markets globally, right? World domination, one market at a time.
The U.S. is their priority for now, but they're definitely open to other opportunities. They're not limiting themselves, Any chance to grow, they'll consider it.
So they're thinking big, playing the global game. They've learned a lot from their success in India, and they're using that experience to guide their global expansion.
Exactly. They've got the skills, the experience, and the ambition to really make a global impact.
Okay, so we've covered a lot about Zaggle's competitive landscape in both India and the U.S. We've seen what makes them stand out. We've talked about the challenges and opportunities ahead. But there's one big piece missing: the money talk. How's their financial situation looking? Are they just chasing growth, or are they actually building a profitable, sustainable business?
That's what we're going to unpack next. Time to dive into those numbers and see what they reveal about Zaggle's financial health and long-term potential.
All right, welcome back for the final part of our Zaggle deep dive. We've talked about their business, their growth plans, and the competition. Now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty, the numbers.
Yep, the financial stuff. We want to see if they're actually building a sustainable business, not just chasing hype.
Exactly. So where do we even start with all these financials? What should we be looking at to understand the financial health of Zaggle?
Well, a good place to start is with their revenue. Where's the money coming from? Zaggle's got three main sources: software fees, program fees, and then revenue from their Propel platform. Each one tells us something different about their business.
Okay, let's break those down. First, software fees. That's the recurring revenue, right? Companies subscribing to their platform, kind of like a membership.
Exactly. It's like the SaaS model, software as a service. Companies pay a regular fee to access Zaggle's tools. That steady income stream shows how much businesses rely on Zaggle and how likely they are to stick around.
So it's about building a solid customer base. What about program fees? Where do those come from?
Mostly from interchange fees on transactions. So every time a company uses Zaggle to pay something, like with a prepaid card or a credit card, Zaggle gets a little cut.
Ah, those tiny fees add up. The more payments they process, the more they make.
Right, and that's why their partnerships with banks are so important. Those relationships are what make those payment transactions possible.
It's like having a network of toll roads. The more cars using your roads, the more money you make.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have the Propel platform revenue. What's that all about?
That's the money they make from their rewards and incentive programs. Companies use Zaggle Propel to give their employees and partners rewards, like points. Zaggle makes money by managing those programs and making sure everything runs smoothly.
So it's not just processing payments, it's about creating those engaging experiences.
Exactly, and it adds another layer to their business, makes them less reliant on just one thing.
Like having multiple streams of income. Always a good thing. Okay, so we see where the money comes from, but are they actually making a profit? What do we look at to know if they're financially healthy?
Adjusted EBITDA is a big one. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It tells us how much profit they're making from their core operations.
So it's like looking at how well the core business is doing, stripping away all the extra stuff.
Exactly. And Zaggle's been doing well there. Their adjusted EBITDA margin is somewhere between 11% and 13%, and they're expecting that to grow to 15% or even 16% by FY28.
So they're not just growing, they're becoming more profitable too. That's a good sign. What else should we be looking at?
Cash flow from operations is another important one. That tells us how much cash their core business is generating.
So it's like checking their pulse, making sure they have enough energy to keep going.
Yeah. And their cash flow from operations has been generally positive, which means they're generating enough cash to fund their operations and their growth plans.
Okay, so they're profitable, they're generating cash, and they're growing fast. But what's driving all of this? What's their secret sauce?
One big factor is the shift towards digital payments in India. More and more businesses are ditching those old paper processes and going digital, and that's where Zaggle shines.
They're riding the wave of digital transformation.
Exactly. And they're constantly innovating, coming up with new products and services, making their platform even better. They're not just sitting back and relaxing.
It's like they're building a better surfboard to ride that wave.
Right. And they're really focused on their customers. They want to build those strong relationships and make sure their clients are happy.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about the people.
Exactly. It's a combination of those things: digitization, innovation, and that focus on customers that's making them so successful.
Okay, so we've looked at their revenue, their profitability, and all the factors driving their success. But what's the big picture? What's your expert take on their long-term potential? Can they keep this up?
Honestly, I'm cautiously optimistic. They've got a strong foundation, they're in a market that's growing rapidly, and they have a clear vision for the future. Plus, their financials are healthy, and they're committed to innovation and their customers.
So they have what it takes, but it's still a tough market out there.
Yeah, the fintech world is constantly changing. It's hard to say for sure if they'll reach all their goals, but they're definitely a company to watch.
Well, it's a great takeaway. Zaggle, a company with a big vision, a lot of potential, and definitely one to keep an eye on. It's been a fascinating journey exploring their business, their growth, and their future. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Zaggle. We hope you learned something new, and who knows, maybe you'll even become a Zaggle customer yourself.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure discussing Zaggle with you.
And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of business.